So now we are going to learn that how can we take input in Python programming, right? So for taking input in Python programming, we are using what? Input function, right? And as we have learned previously that how we use input function. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to write the name of the variable. The first step, note down, write the name of the variable, okay, whatever you want, just like marks of a student is a variable, right? Okay, then assign input function on that variable. Instead of value, we assign input function on this variable, right? Here I have created a variable. I have not created, I have only write the name of the variable marks of a student, okay. And now I am going to assign input function instead of value, okay. So here I am using a input function and assign it to this variable, right? Now our Python interpreter asks for a value. It wants a value from us, okay. So we are going to input something right now. So marks of a student, I want to enter 78. What you want? As always, now I want to print the value of the marks of a student variable, okay. So see, it shows 78, but I want to know that whatever value I have put into the variable named marks of a student is of which type, right? Suppose if I want to do some mathematical operation in this variable, for that I have to know that the data which I put into the marks of a student variable is of which type, right? So as we have learned previously that we are using type function, right? So let's apply type function. So in a type function we just pass the name of the variable for which data type we want to know. So I want to know marks of a student, so I'm just typing marks of a student. And now see what happened. I have entered integer and it shows string. It's too confusing when we get this result, okay. So let's have a concept we have to understand. So see, input function in Python programming, taking input from the user, okay, and assign it to the variable. But whatever input we enter, whatever thing whatever thing we enter, it take it as string data type, okay. Input function always accept string values. If I write 78, it convert the 78 into string and accept it. That's why 78 is shown string here in our Python interpreter, right? Now, how then people think that how can I overcome this problem? Because whatever I input, even a float or a string or a integer, it just convert all these data type into a string. Then how can we overcome this? Okay, everybody wants that if I make a variable of marks of a student, so it is of integer type. Here integer data type value. Okay, so for that we typecast the input function. Okay, just like for taking integer, means for taking input. Okay, if we want to take integer as a input, then we have to simply typecast the input function with integer. If we want to input, means if we want to float as a input, if we want float as a input, then we have to typecast it with float. And if we want double as a input, we have to typecast it with that. Okay, so by typecasting the input function, we can make this input feature for particular data type from which we typecast. Okay, so now listen that now we simply wait. So we have to simply typecast the input function. Now, how to typecast? So first of all, create a variable marks of a student, right, and assign input function, but that input function is typecasted, should be typecasted, right? So we have to typecast that input function and then assign it to the variable. So I want a integer, right? But okay, take an example of a float because marks is in a float, right? So now here I am doing is what, I have passed a constructor function of float. Listen, int function, float function, string function, these are the constructor function, okay, which we use to create integer, string or typecast, right? So here I typecast this input function with a float. Okay, so as you see that I have passed input function as an argument of the float function, right? So see what, now it accept input only for the float values. Okay, whatever we input, whatever we give input, it take it as a float, right? So now see, we simply write 45, right? And see the type, marks of a student. We are just going to type the see the type. For seeing the type, simply type simply write the type function, and in the type function, in the argument of the type function, we pass the name of the variable for which data type we want to know. For see, it's float. Now I'm going to print. Get how it looks. So it shows 45.00. Oh, it shows 45.0. It convert into 45.0. I have entered 45 and it converted into decimal float value, right? So this is the way to take input of any data type. If you want to take input, if you want to take in string as an input, then simply assign input function to your variable. If you want float as an input, you simply assign input function to your variable, but you have to typecast that input function with the particular data type constructor function. Just like we want a we want float as a input. So for that, we first of all have to do is what we have to write the name of the variable and then assign input function. But this input function is typecasted with the float constructor function. Okay, if it is typecasted with float function, then we can input float, otherwise we can't. Okay, so this is the main rule. So now we know. Now we have also take an example of how to take a integer as input. So let's have a see. Just like weekdays. Let's create a variable named weekdays equals, and here I am typecasting this input function with integer constructor function, right? So see, now it asks for a integer. I am all writing 6. Now see the type of the weekday. It shows integer, and if you want to print, that's our print. So 6. So you know how to take integer as a input in a Python, how to take float as a input in a Python, and how to take string as the input in Python. Let's see a string. Okay, if I want a string, simply create a name of the variable, assign only input function without typecasting. Okay, you just have to pass the input function, and I am writing here, and you will see. You want to see the type? Let's have a look. And here the type is a string. Okay, so by this way we take input in Python. One more important thing is knowing about the comments in a Python. For that, you just simply have to know that hash function. Sorry, it's not hash, it's a hash symbol. See, this is a hash symbol. See, I am writing something, and you see what it throw? It throw invalid syntax. But now I am writing hash and then see, this is not throwing any error. You will see, actually this Python interpreter ignore the line which I write. Because why ignoring? Why Python interpreter ignoring this line? Because simply we write hash, after that we write the sentence whatever we want to write. Okay, so this symbol, wait, oh god, it's yeah, actually, see this symbol, you see, this symbol is commenting the line in our Python program. Okay, so if you want just if you create a program, right, if you create a program that enter name, age, okay, and you want to uh, make some uh, lines to explaining your code, okay, you just want to explain your code, that what you have coded in your project, in your Python program, then you simply use comment. Okay, in comment you write your understanding, your explanation, okay, and comment all these lines, so that another person or another developer will see and understand, yes, this code is working like this, or know more about this by you seeing your comment. So comment is a very important for explaining our code, right? So this is a single line comment. Let's have a look about the multi-line comment, right? So multi-line comment simply does what? Let's have a see. We are using this. See, it shows. Okay, no worry. I don't know why it shows error. I think in Python interpreter it does not show, but this is also a way to write a multi-line comment, right? Yeah. So by this way you use comment in your code, okay, to explain your code well, right? So let's create one simple project. Okay, so I want to create a project. So first of all I have to go Control X, Control C. Let's create a new session. See, I think now it is visible. Okay, so this is a nano editor, okay, in which you can code. Okay, see, I am creating a new app for you guys, a voting app. No, adult app. It checks whether you are adult or not. Oh, but for that you have to learn conditional statement. Okay, no worry. I am just creating a simple app, feeder app. Okay, yeah. What I am doing? Name equals input. Okay. We want to input name, right? One more thing I want to share, that in input function we pass a sentence that is printed in your computer screen. Okay, and after that a cursor will come, right? After that a cursor will come. First it prints a message that you have to enter this. See, enter your name. Simply enter name, right? Now this will print a message on your screen, on your output screen. Okay, okay, you just have to enter name, and after that on a next line or on, okay, you will get a cursor and you have to input your name. Now what I have to input? Place. Okay, place, from which place you belong. Okay, so input place, it is also a string, right? Enter place. Now I'll see more thing by using these projects. See, I have input place. Okay, so first after taking input name as input, it, after that when we input name, then it print enter place. Okay, now after that we input place. Okay, after inputting place, what I have to do? uh, Marks, right? Marks, pin code, pin code. Okay, so pin code is in integer, you know. For that you have to just enter pin. See, and now I'm going to print your brief introduction. So see, for that I am using print function. Here one more thing I want to share, that we will use format string. Okay, we will use format string because format string is a way through which we add the name of the variable and our message both in a single line, right? See, so for writing a format string we just write f first. Okay, after that double quote. In double quote I simply write this is name which belongs to from which belongs to dollar place. Just a simple introduction. Let's have a see. See. For running your application you just have to write python and then write the name of your python file. So see, I am enter my details. Okay, oh, it shows error. I think I have to check. I think there is wait. Let's have a wait guys. Yes. Actually I have done a mistake. So now I'm going to run my uh, python app.py. See, so there will be mistake is what that I have just write in dollar. So you just don't have to write dollar. Instead of dollar you just have to do is what, simply in a curly braces you have to write the name of the variable. Okay, you just have to here in name is taken, place is taken, and pin is taken. After that, this will simply explain in a single line or introduce. Okay, so see, so this is due to format string. Let's see the code I have used. Here I am using variable name in the curly braces, right? So whenever you are using format string, you have to put your variable name in the curly braces, right? So I think you guys understand. This is a very simple way to taking our message and add our variable, both combine and then print. And this is the best way, I think, and I think you should also follow this method instead of using plus sign, right? Format string is a very good method to combining both variables and message, as I think. So I suggest everyone to use format string in Python. So this is all about uh, input and comments and printing variables messages in Python, right? So now after completing this project, I think you all understand very basic, or we can say a basic fundamental of a Python programming, and now you are able to make a small program which can print variable value of the variable, which can take input, right? So this is all about this. And one more thing, just try to use comment in your program, because comment is a very mandatory thing, right? So that people can understand your code. Okay, so I suggest in your project you should always write comment. This will help you too and other contributors. That's all.